All right, guys. Second video of the week, Bill of Rights. We're going to just quickly look at the actual Bill of Rights itself and kind of talk about. I'm sorry, playing around here. Talk about what they are, why they happen, and etc. So, as we talked about in the last video, Bill of Rights is going to be a compromise between the Federalists and Anti-Federalists. Originally, the Federalists were like, we can't do a Bill of Rights because if we do, like one representative from Georgia said, if we write down a set of rights, some fool in the future are going to think these are the only rights we have. That'll be addressed here in a second, but that's the main argument against them. If you're wondering why would anybody not like the Bill of Rights? Well, that's why. So let's talk real quick about what each amendment is. So there's 10 of them. They're argued over and they're finally added. They are not added right away. It takes a little bit of time. Let's see. Look at the exact date. Yep, it's going to take till became effective in 1791. So, yeah, not right away. So, First Amendment. This is the one most people know. Congress shall make no laws respecting establishment of religion, prohibiting free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech for the press or the right of the people to peacefully assemble. So, this is the freedom of speech and religion. The government will not establish a religion. You can believe what you want to believe or nothing at all. And we can say what we want. Now, it's important to remember when we say you can say what you want, this does not mean I can walk up and say something horrible and vile and you have no reaction. It's protection from the government. I can say something vile and the police will not arrest me unless I'm threatening harm, but I may lose my job. If I go on some kind of racist rant in one of these videos, I'm losing my job. I don't have a freedom of speech from, consequences. It's just the government can't arrest me unless I'm threatening someone. Peaceful assembly, what that is looking at, that's talking about you have the right to protest and get together. They can't stop you from gathering. Now you're thinking, right now, Mr. Nolan, we literally cannot assemble. This is you can't. There are exceptions to every rule. This is basically talking about protest. You can't. The government can't stop you from protesting. Amendment 2, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state and the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the big one that everybody fights over. Amendment 2, 2A repping. This is the firearms amendment. Now, if you read the actual amendment, it says a well-regulated militia. That's going to be militia is a small military unit that can fight for the country. Think National Guard. And the idea was that if the government starts to hold you down, the state should be able to fight against that government, like the colonists did against the British. And the first thing the British tried to do is take the arms away from the colonists, so they want to make sure you get to keep your arms. Now, important things to remember, when this was written, the fastest you could fire is a couple of shots a minute. AR-15s were not in their brain. And also, if you noticed, it's talking about a militia. So you have to decide if you think that means that every person in the country should have the right to own whatever they want when it comes to guns, or is it really just talking about protection? We're not going to get into the politics of it. You can save that for your 12th grade class. All right, Amendment 3. Now, this is a weird one. No soldier shall in a time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner nor the time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. So remember we talked about how mad the colonists got when the British put their troops in people's homes? They were so ticked off. That's the Third Amendment of our Constitution. It's legally, constitutionally barred putting a soldier in your house unless you agree to it. Amendment 4, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable search and seizure shall not be violated. No warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So this is an important one for you to know. This is the one that says you can't be searched without a search warrant. Now, is that true? Not really. Since then, there's probable cause makes a search reasonable. So if they have reason to believe something's going wrong, a good reasonable reason to believe it, they can search you to a degree. If they pull you over and they smell weed in your car, they can search for weed. If they knock on your door and they hear someone screaming in the back, they can come in your house. Otherwise, though, they do need a search warrant, and the warrants are specific. So if someone gives you a warrant and it says, I'm going to search your house, particularly your kitchen, for knobs, they can't go to your bedroom. They can't look in your filing. They can't take your computers. The search warrant has to say exactly what they're looking for. If they search your house, it does not necessarily mean they can search your car unless the warrant says all property. All right, so that's important things to remember. You do have rights when it comes to searches and seizures. If you're searched without a proper reason or warrant, you can't use it in court. Amendment 5, no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in the cases arising in the land or naval forces, or in the militia, when in the actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So, that's a big one. First of all, you have to be indicted. You cannot be held unless a grand jury is going to indict you. They can't hold you forever without charges. Second of all, you cannot be tried twice for the same crime. If you're found innocent for a crime, they can't put you on trial again, even if they know for a fact you did it. OJ can never be tried federally for a murder charge again. Now, separate so you can be charged by the feds. They find you innocent, and then the state can charge you. It's a separate system. But if both find you innocent, or there is no state charge, you're free to go, no matter if you go in the steps of the courtroom and say, hey, I did it. That was because the British like to try to charge somebody and try them over and over until they finally got it guilty. So they jumped out ahead and that said, you get one shot, one bite at the apple. If you mess it up, they're free. And finally, you don't have to be a witness against yourself. You may have heard of I plead the fifth. That means in court, you cannot be required to give testimony that will put yourself at danger of being convicted. So if in order to tell the truth, it requires you to incriminate yourself, even the crime you're charged with or another crime, you do not have to testify for that. Like, you have to say, I plead the fifth. It can be used in cases where, yes, this guy has an alibi for a murder, but it's because he was selling drugs. You can say, I was here, this guy saw me here, and they go, well, why were you there? And he can say, I plead the fifth to that part. I'm not going to tell you why I was there. All right, Sixth Amendment. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy trial, just to be fast trial. Can't hold you for years waiting for your trial. And it has to be in the state and area in which they committed the crime with an impartial jury. Now, sometimes you can't get an impartial jury, so you have to move locations, but that's a special case. And you have to be informed of what you're being charged of, and you have to be able to confront the witnesses. In other words, they have to testify in front of you. And he also, the person being charged, has the ability to call witnesses and make them come. And he also has to have a lawyer if they want one. All right. Amendment 7. This is about lawsuits and common law. If you sue someone over more than $20, you have a right to a jury for your lawsuit. 8. no excessive bail or crime or punishments for crimes. So you can't be put in jail for 100 years for stealing bubble gum. You can't be shot in the face for slapping somebody. No cruel and unusual punishment. Before you ask about the death penalty, it's been ruled multiple times that that is not cruel and unusual according to current law. Number 9, the enumeration of the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage other retained by the people. So this is what we're getting at. The Federalists were afraid that if you make this list, that's the only rights we'll have. So they put this one in here. So privacy. At this time period when this is written, you did not have a right to privacy, but you also didn't have phones and people on top of you and the whole world looking what you do. Now we need privacy due to the internet. So ask yourself, do you think you have a right to privacy? If you do, then this amendment here is your friend. And finally, Amendment 10 says any power not given to the United States by the Constitution or prohibited to the states means that they get the right to exercise that power. So basically just giving the states its power. So that's a quick rundown of the Bill of Rights, why it happened. You have a lot of information, and what I've given you can look up on your own. Once again, there will be an assessment at the end of the week, so please do it. It should not be hard. Do not worry about it. If you have any questions, just let me know.